Hello, welcome to the latest episode of Through the Pages. Longtime viewers of the channel will know I love a good gut health book, and The Better Brain by Bonnie Kaplan and Julia Rucklidge, the foreword by Andrew Weil, just kind of scratched that itch for me. It's been a while since I've read anything like that, and this took kind of a different slant where it wasn't all about like microbes and in the gut. It's more about how our brain and gut are directly connected, sort of like Mind-Gut Connection by Dr. Emmerich Mayer. But this is a little bit more about like the spectrum of nutrients we need for all the processes to happen effectively and effectively, both of them. What I found most interesting is that like it really did have a sharp eye on like acknowledging things like some like vitamins are less heat resistant than minerals, kind of speaking to like raw foods. It was raw vegan for a lot of years, so I appreciate that. And also just a very honest discussion of like vegan versus non-vegan, like what one would be lacking, what the other one needs to get a little bit more of, and that sort of thing. But I just found it interesting, there was like an analogy to like tryptophan and how that is known for increasing serotonin. But with a sort of rudimentary understanding of that, we don't think of all the processes from like eating something with tryptophan to like I have more serotonin in my brain right now. Like there's this course of action and the minerals that are needed for this step, vitamins and minerals for this step, and then I think there was like 2 more minerals for the last step to make it happen. It's like if you're low in one of those, eventually that process will stop. And so having the broadest spectrum of nutrients in our rotation consistently is the best way for our brain to operate. And while they did talk about like broad spectrum nutrients, like they weren't calling them multivitamins, was pretty much the whole thing. They had all these different ways of saying multivitamin that weren't multivitamin, which I understand. But they really kind of pushed whole foods more, which is the way to go. Like you can't just supplement your way to health. Honestly, like I think if you're really just relying on supplements, that means you're having less and less whole foods, which means it's more of an upstream battle, which I think like if you just do a lot of whole foods, get some diversity in there, like we all have our favorites we go to. I have a lot of red lentils and bananas, but like you do get a lot of diversity in there, and then pepper in some supplements. Like I do take a B12, I do a little D3, especially in the winter, but those are the only 2 kind of like distinct nutrients that I do. Other things are more like all around, like algae or like shilajit, things that are like very mineral rich without just being like, I just want this one mineral. Like trying to get things that are a little bit more comprehensive. And so this book really explained not just like the general health side, but like specifically the mental health side. And I think it's what's missing from the conversation these days. I think we're to the point now where collectively majority of people would say the pharmaceuticals aren't the #1 option. Our rates of depression and anxiety are going up and up. We're prescribing more and more of that. Something's not working. I've taken antidepressants, so I can only attest to that for me really was not a good fit. I feel way better when I just actually like eat right and exercise. And I know it's kind of trivial to like reduce it to that, but like for me, if I'm like feeling depression, like I kind of check in with myself first before I think like, oh, my depression's like back and it's kicking my ass. It's like, well, what am I eating? Did I sleep well? Am I exercising? And how's my stress? Like, some of the basic things, like am I managing my like self right? And if all those are covered and I'm feeling it, then I know like, okay, this is something serious going on. But a lot of this just traces back to what we put in our body and the energy we then have. So if we're not putting stuff in our body that's helping us, then we won't have energy to do other things, and it's this cyclical sort of thing. So I think the foundation is just starting, and for some people that's starting with a supplement that then kind of gets your wheels turning. But everything from metabolism to regulation of serotonin, sleep, everything just kind of goes back to like how our brain is functioning. And so they really just talked about like eating for north of the neck or something along those lines. But like it's eat for your brain health. I'd always kind of looked at it as like eat for your microbiome, but really same thing. Like they're vagus nerve and constant communication. So I think that this was a really fascinating book. It didn't feel like it was like covering the same stuff. Like sometimes you'll read a gut health book and it's like, all right, first 100 pages, gut health 101. It's like, yeah, I know, like, it's kind of, I know, like, you know, you'll always learn something new and it kind of resets information, but like, still, like, sometimes it feels like anyone can come up, like, I've got 50 unique pages and then I'll just talk about like the general gut health stuff. But this was very unique. I like the dynamic of the two authors. They both had some personal stories in there, some with like crises that happened in their area, like big earthquakes and everything, and how people dealt with the stress afterwards, and how nutritional supplements in times of crisis can make them less traumatic or help us handle the trauma better. But it really just opened the door to a lot of conversations that I think we're all at a point of just looking, it's like, we want to do better. Like, I'm tired of these products that aren't working, or, you know, maybe are only one piece of the puzzle, but like nutrition, and not this like dogmatic, like, are you vegan? Are you eating grass-fed meat? Are you, like, it's a general, like, generally you should be eating a lot of plants and whole foods. The specifics, you want to do a little bit of this, none of this, exclude that, like gluten, all this stuff, like, you can dig into it, but like in general, like a lot of colors, a lot of plants, get them from good soil, like farmers markets, and it just kind of, it's irrefutable in that way. And I really like books like that are just like, there's no way I could see like handing this to a doctor who's like stubbornly like, nutrition's not science, it's all, you know, it's not like a pharmaceutical, it's not regimented, like but disagree, like specifically how do you exclude nutrition? And they talk about, you know, doctors getting like 30 minutes of nutrition training in their 8 years, and I really just think like not to exclusively displace pharmaceuticals. The purpose is to bolster health and then potentially need less of them. It's not an either or. I think sometimes when people come with holistic medicine, they're trying to like stamp out the other one. And it's not necessarily the case. You know, if I break my arm, I'm going to the hospital. It's simple. And like, there's a place for all of that stuff. I think it's just more emergency. And if we don't build up ourselves in this kind of way that leads us towards disease and just becoming decrepit, like, we'll have far fewer ailments. I think a lot of them are preventable, and we kind of live lives that it's like we just want to get sick. So start sidestepping this stuff, start reading the labels, skipping stuff, shopping organic, like getting back to kind of the way our grandparents lived is really like the simplest way I can explain it. I think we'll have better health for everyone, better brain for everyone. If you are curious about this, do go read this book. There's also a bunch of recipes in it. I've flipped through some of them and already saw like a lentil stew that I want to make. But yeah, great book. Also, just love the cover. Love a good cover. Makes me want to get some purple cauliflower. Yeah, if you like gut health books, kind of sciencey stuff, like I do those occasionally on here. I have a little fermented food company. That's my main job. But yeah, thanks for showing the channel some love. Hope you watched this video. It's 8 minutes long. If you made it to the end, you're just awesome.